Geez. Okay. It's been a while. It's been a while. We apologize so much for not having a lot of content recently. Aside from our podcast, we know it's been a really long time since we put out a video. But like we've said in a couple of those episodes, we're just getting through senior year. Senior year of high school classes are done. Got to get through graduation, some AP tests, and then we'll be able to get way more videos to you. So before I get into this one, I wanted to say we know we haven't put out content in a while. And we really apologize. We're really looking forward to over the summer getting out so much more content for you guys before we head off to college, like film breakdowns with certain rookies, like you guys said you wanted in a recent community post. We did predictions for the season, and then get back to that season coverage. We are so excited to get you everything you guys have been looking for and that we have not been able to provide you with over the past month or so. It's been a stressful time. We're getting through senior year of high school, and we're on the precipice of being able to bring you guys that content. That being said, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a tier list ranking of all of the starting quarterbacks for the 2021 NFL season, including rookies, including certain other players on new teams. We're going to have a tier list for you guys today from S, A, B, C, D, and too early to tell. That's what we're going to do today. So a tier list of the starting quarterbacks for this season. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I feel like I should tell you guys a little bit about the way this is organized. S tier, that's going to be your top best of the best, Hall of Fame, top tier quarterbacks. A tier is just right below that. And then all the way down in the too early to tell, that's going to be reserved mostly for rookies, a couple other players that we haven't seen. And it's a little bit too early to tell what they're going to be. Some rookies may crack the list based on what we kind of already know about them. But the too early to tell part, it's just a contingency plan in case we don't know what's going on with the quarterback. Matt Ryan is the first one on this list. And I think Matt Ryan, I think he's that perfect B quarterback. I don't think he's, the best of the best, but he's also very serviceable. And statistically, he has performed so well over the last couple seasons. And while he hasn't gotten the most wins, I think he's right in that average B range. I think that's a really good spot for him. Desean Watson's one of the players. It's going to go in too early. We've been avoiding talking about the Desean Watson situation because we do not want to be involved in the situation and what's been going on with him specifically. But I feel like at this point, it's just a little bit too early to tell for him. I don't think we're going to see him play this season with what's going on, but we'll leave that for other people to talk about. It's not our place. Personally, I'm putting him in too early to tell because I don't think he's going to start a game for the Texans this season, and I'm not sure we'll see him in the NFL this season. And if the rumors and the stuff about him are true, we might not see him in the NFL again, which, again, I'm not trying to make comments on the subject. He's going to go in too early to tell. Big Ben is going to go a tier below Matt Ryan, in my opinion. I still think he's a good quarterback, and he led the Steelers to a pretty good record last year, but he's nowhere near what he used to be, especially with his arm. So I think he slots in right at C, underneath Matt Ryan. I think that's a good spot for him. Drew Lock. Drew Lock's a tough one. I'm deciding between D or F. I was not a big fan of Drew Lock after his rookie year, as some other people were. A lot of people overreacted to that small amount of games. And I don't think that was very telling of his ability. And while Teddy Bridgewater might be the starter, this has Drew Lock. But I think either way, as starting quarterbacks, I'd probably have to put both of them in F. As of right now, I just don't think Drew Lock has shown the ability to lead a team for a full season and be competent in any way or be good in any way. So I'm going to put him in F. And then Daniel Jones will slot in at D, right above Drew Lock. I think he's shown some flashes, and he's got more talent than Drew Lock. So he's going to go one step ahead, and I think he's had more of those, with a bigger sample size too. He's had more good games than I think Drew Lock has. Many know I'm not the biggest Drew Lock fan, which is why he's in D, but he's not in F for those reasons. Anish outlines him all the time too. He does show flashes. He's good with his legs. He's got a big arm. He makes a lot of good throws, but with the turnovers, I think that's what's limiting him. But he might be one of the players on this list that you could see the biggest jump for this year. I mean, people draw comparisons to Josh Allen. I don't see those exact comparisons, but also I didn't see the breakout from Josh Allen. So who knows? Daniel Jones could either make a big jump off this list, or he could not even be on it by the time next year rolls around. Tua's going in F. I haven't been a fan of Tua Tagovailoa since the draft. I didn't have him as my second quarterback in the draft like many people did. And after his rookie season, he just did not show me very much to be able to put him in a tier other than this. You could put him in too early, which in fact I might leave him in too early. He's not a rookie, but maybe we didn't see enough of him last year to know exactly what he's going to be, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I will throw him in this too early tier. For now, I'll throw him the too early. Trevor Lawrence, a lot of the rookies will go in too early, but we know who Trevor Lawrence is. We know the kind of player he is, and we know the situation he's going into. I think, judging by the situation and the fact we haven't seen him play yet, I'll throw him in C for now. But as most people expect, he's going to be up in this area, S or A, very soon. But I think he's too good for these bottom tiers and the too early. But, without playing yet, can't put him up at the top. So I think that C tier is going to be perfect for him. I love Alex Smith. What a tremendous story he is. But as a quarterback, I don't know why he's exactly on this list either. I think he's got to go in this F tier. Ryan Fitzpatrick, however, I'm probably going to put whether it's C or D. I mean, I think leading a team wise, I love Fitzpatrick. I don't know what to do, because there's those games where he's down here in F, and there's some games where he's all the way up here, and he had a pretty good season with the Dolphins record wise. I mean, bringing them to a good record, and then unfortunately being replaced by Tua. I don't know whether to be a little bit too mean or maybe a little bit too nice. I wish there was kind of like that middle between C and D. So I'll throw him in front of Daniel Jones in D, but he's almost right here in this C tier. Almost right there. Aaron Rodgers, obvious S tier quarterback, won the MVP last year. One of the favorites to win it again this year. Who knows where he's starting next year, but he is one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. So he's got to be up in that S tier. Just like Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins is going in the B tier. 2 very similar players. They just get the job done. They don't have, the high ceilings or the big potential like the S and A tier quarterbacks do, but they get the job done year in and year out. And I think Kirk Cousins is that perfect B tier quarterback, just like Matt Ryan. Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow, I'll put Joe Burrow in the C tier, because we know he's basically still a prospect too. With the fact that he hasn't played even a full season in the NFL and he's still super young. I mean, yeah, I'm going to put, he's not super young, but he's young. I'm going to put him in the C tier. I think that he could go in too early, but we did see a lot of flashes last year. The game against the Browns where he just went nutty on 4th down, that showed me a lot. It showed Anish and Shrikar a lot too. I'm going to put him in C tier. I think that he could easily make a jump. He's kind of like C tier / too early, because this is kind of his floor right now, but it's too early to tell whether he can jump into one of these top ones. I think he can, but as of now, I'll put him in C. Tom Brady is going in A or S tier as well. He might not be what he used to be with his arm or with his talent, and you could say, yeah, he's on the Bucs. Look at all that talent around him, but he's an S tier quarterback. You can't say anything else. He's an S tier quarterback. Won the Super Bowl last year. I mean, he could go out and win a Super Bowl again this year with terrible stats. He'd still be an S tier quarterback. I mean, that's just what he does. He wins championships. I don't think anyone can dispute he is the S tier quarterback. One of a couple undisputable S tier quarterbacks that we'll get to later. Gardner Minshew also going in F with Drew Lock and Alex Smith. He doesn't have a job. I don't completely know why he's on this list. I guess they included more than just starters, but I'm gonna put him in F with Drew Lock, Alex Smith. Yeah, it's you don't want to be in that group, but I'm sorry, Gardner Minshew, I got to put him there. As much as people wanted Minshew Magic, Minshew Mania to happen, not going to happen. Jalen Hurts, I'm putting in too early. I like what I saw from Jalen Hurts this year. A lot of flashes. He showed a lot of grit coming in after Carson Wentz and winning a couple games, like beating the Saints. But it's still a little bit too early to tell, especially with this Eagles roster. We don't know what they're going to be like yet. I'm going to pump the brakes. It's just a little bit too early to tell for me. Drew Brees is out of the league. I'm not including him in this list. Jared Goff is going to go in... Jared Goff's going to go in C tier for me, right near Big Ben. They've shown that they've been able to win recently, but again, I'm not super impressed by them. I'm not a big fan of their game. I think they're both C tier quarterbacks. Jared Goff, especially with the Lions too, I'm not expecting him to be anything better than this C range this year, and he might get replaced. You might see him drop on this list as well. Teddy Bridgewater, I mentioned before, whether it's Drew Lock or him starting, I think that either way, it's an F-tier quarterback starting for the Broncos. Either way that happens, I think it's a good investment for the Broncos. I mean, they didn't throw a whole lot into him, high or low risk, high reward, but I don't see, even if I was going to put him in a tier, I don't think he ever gets higher than this D, maybe the C. But so it's a low risk, not even like super high reward. But anyways, yeah, I think that either Broncos quarterback would go in F tier. Mitchell Trubisky, the starting quarterback for the Bills. No, I'm kidding. He's a backup. He's going in F tier. He's been F tier for a long time now, and I don't think anyone can argue that he would go anywhere other than F tier. I don't care. He won the Nickelodeon MVP in that game. My favorite player, Sam Darnold. As much as I hate to do it, I want to put him in D. I want to be nice to him and put him in D. He's going to go right at the top of F for me, right past Drew Lock. I think he's got the potential to be this DC or B quarterback, and we'll see it this year with the Panthers. I almost want to put him in too early because he's with this new system and we haven't seen him yet. For me, it's a little bit too early to tell, but I'm gonna put him in F, and I think that's a fair place to put him. But I do believe, and I'm still holding out hope that this year with the Panthers, with an actual competent coaching staff, and some good players around him for once, he can rise up in these rankings. But for now, probably an F-tier quarterback after what we've seen. Patrick Mahomes, top of S tier, best quarterback in the league, best player in the league, undisputed. I am a little bit afraid that there might be a slump for the Chiefs this year after losing in the Super Bowl, but no matter what, S tier quarterback in everyone's book. Cam Newton, also F tier. Not a fan of Cam Newton for a while, and I think the injuries, it sucks what's happened to him. I think it's he can't control it. The injuries, I just think it's derailed his career. He was really bad after coming off of COVID last year, and while that might have been a factor, I'm not sure how much better he would have been over the year. So F-tier quarterback in Cam Newton. Jimmy Garoppolo is an interesting one. I think I'm also going to put him in D or in C, a little bit higher up, because I think he's got potential to be that B-tier quarterback. I think he has that potential. Yeah, he's right there with Goff and Ben. I think like this C tier, he's right there with these three quarterbacks, Garoppolo, Ben, and Jared Goff, all in that same range where Jimmy Garoppolo could drop off this list. I mean, Trey Lance is coming in for his spot, and no one wanted to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. So, maybe he plays a lot more than Trey Lance this year and shows something, but honestly, I think he's no more than a B-tier quarterback potential, and I think right now he's a C, could even drop him down to a D. Carson Wentz, again, this is going into this year and not completely based off what we saw last year. I think Carson Wentz, this is a tough one. Because I want to believe in him a little bit more than what he was last year, because I think he's better than what he was last year, but also his last year was really bad. I'm going to throw him in C. I'm going to throw him in C, but he's kind of flexing in between these two. I think he will have a much better season than the Colts. I won't go as far as Anish as his hot take to say that he's going to be better than Dak Prescott this season. I'll throw him in C with a chance that he jumps up to B, maybe possibly even A if the Colts go far this year. Mack Jones, it's too early to tell. He's one of those rookies. We don't even know if he's going to play off the rip. It's too early to tell. For me, Justin Fields is going to go in that range too, because I like his potential as a prospect. I really do. But with going to the Bears and with the things that he needs to fix, I said if he fixes those things, which should be easy fixes, he can go up to this A-tier range almost immediately. But as of now, he's going to go in too early to tell, along with Zach Wilson. As much as I want to be a Jets homer and put him next to Trevor Lawrence, I also know it's the Jets, and the Jets have had so much failure with quarterbacks in the past that I can't say as of right now that I'm completely confident Zach Wilson is going to work out and be already in this range. It's too early to tell, because not on his side, I think more on the Jets side of things. It's a little bit too early to tell. Justin Herbert, our first A-tier quarterback of the video. His rookie year, absolutely insane. I won't go as far as to say best rookie quarterback season of all time, but definitely one of the top 5 or 10, yeah, honestly, top 5 best rookie quarterback seasons of all time. I'm expecting even a bigger leap from him now, and this Chargers team to get a little bit better too, maybe even sniff the playoffs with Brandon Staley. I think this defense is going to improve, which will give Justin Herbert more of a stage to show off his talent. But I think as of right now, with talent and production last year in his 1 year, he's an A-tier quarterback and could jump up to that S-tier very soon. He definitely can, especially with the changing of the guard, with maybe Rodgers, already Breeze, or maybe even Brady retiring in the future, could open up a spot in that S-tier for Justin Herbert. Lamar Jackson is going in that S-tier, though. Definitely an S-tier quarterback. I only see a couple more S-tier quarterbacks in this video. And Lamar, he gets a bad rap because of the playoffs, but you got to take everything into account. I think he is a definite S-tier quarterback, MVP 2 years ago, and had a pretty good season still this year. A definite S-tier quarterback, in my opinion. Baker Mayfield, this may shock some people. I'm putting him in A-tier. I think Baker Mayfield is an A-tier quarterback after he finally showed me. After the beginning of the season last year, and he was pretty terrible, he in the middle of his season had a big resurgence. And he put himself in that A tier for me, especially with that playoff win too. Put himself in that A tier. If the Browns do as well as I think they will this year, you could see Mayfield jump to an S tier. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps into that S tier if the Browns have a lot of success this year. Ryan Tannehill, also an A tier quarterback in my book. He's a very underrated player. I really think that I think I had him as one of my top 5 most underrated players in the league. What he's done these past couple of years with the Titans, it's undeniable. And a lot of people will put it on Derrick Henry, say he's the reason this Titans offense has improved so much, but it's Ryan Tannehill. All the stats show it's Ryan Tannehill. And ever since coming out of Miami and going to the Titans, I don't think he's been anything other than A-tier quarterback, super underrated. Kyler Murray's an interesting one. I know a lot of people want to put him in this A tier, but I think as of now, I'm going to keep him in B because I think he's going to jump up. I really do. But as of now, I think he's a B tier quarterback. And I definitely am projecting him after this year and the next couple of years. He's going to jump up. And he's got the potential to be one of these S tier guys. But for now, throwing him in the top of B as kind of a flex option between A and B. Because he's just not where the guys like Matt Stafford are for me. I think Matt Stafford, he's kind of like Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan, but a step above. He offers you more than those two. So these two are B-tier quarterbacks, but I think Matt Stafford offers you more than those two. And Kyler Murray has the potential to offer more than all of them, but he just hasn't had the production that these three have had. So I think Matt Stafford kind of slots in right at the end of the A tier, and I'm expecting him to have a much stronger year this year with the Rams. And I think that he'll get a platform to show that he is that level of player. Dak Prescott's going at the top of A tier for me. Who knows? We could have seen him in S tier if he didn't get injured this season, and I'm expecting big things out of him with the Cowboys this year. And while the record might not show it, Dak Prescott is an A tier quarterback for sure, and he could jump up to S if he picks up, where he left off last year. Derek Carr is going in. I would have put Derek Carr in D after 2 years ago, but after this last year, he's going right up here with. Oh, actually, that's a tough one. Because I might want to throw him into B, too. I think, judging on where I put Carson Wentz, I'm going to drop Derek Carr in B. And I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, but he kind of proved me and a lot of other people wrong last year. I think he goes in B, but, if you have him as a C quarterback, I'm not going to fault you for that. I just think after last year, I'll put him in B. I'm expecting him to be more in this range. But after last year and what he's shown those last couple of years and proving me wrong a little bit, I think he's a B-tier quarterback. Josh Allen proved himself. He's S-tier. I thought about putting him with Dak, but getting through the playoffs with the Bills and everything he did this season, a lot of people's MVP picks for this year are Josh Allen, and that's definitely warranted. I think he's an S-tier quarterback along with Russell Wilson, who's been an S-tier quarterback for a very, very, very long time. And I think that while the Seahawks may regress this year, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to regress. I think he will continue to be an S-tier quarterback, and he will be probably until he retires, just like Tom Brady, no matter what team he's on if he's really upset with the Seahawks. And our final quarterback of the video, Trey Lance, is the definition of too early to tell. I don't think we will see him for a while this year. I think Jimmy Garoppolo will get some more time. And so I think he's the definition of too early to tell. We just don't know what he's going to be like yet. Got potential to be one of these guys easily within the next 3 to 4 or 5 years. Got potential to be up here. But as of now, just a little bit too early to tell. Looking over my list, I don't think there's many things I would change. I think there's a couple of these guys I thought about dropping into D. A couple of these guys I thought to move up to B. I think this range, the B, C, D, that's the toughest range to decide. As much as I'd love to move Sam Darnold up, he's going to stay in F. I think maybe Tua or Jalen or Mack Jones even. Like Mack Jones, because he's one of the most pro-ready in this draft. I could drop him in C or D, but as of now, with the Patriots and what they're going to do with him, I'm going to drop him in too early. And I think that's going to be my list. Let me know what you guys thought of my list. Let me know what you guys would have changed. Which one upset you the most? Which one did you like the most? What would you do? I'll also leave a link in the description to this tier list site so you can go and do your own yourself. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section. You can find also our podcast link in the description. We haven't been able to get you guys a lot of videos, but we have not strayed. One podcast a week for the last couple of weeks, and we're going strong. We got a lot of good ideas in the future. And when more news starts pouring in, that's the place you're going to want to be. You can find our Instagram and our Twitter and our website down there as well. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the like button. It really helps us out. Like I said, leave a comment. Go do this tier list on your own. We'll be back to you guys with more videos soon, and we're super excited for it. But that's all I got for you guys this time. I will see you next time.